This is a video I've been debating for a long time, and there is a lot to unpack. Welcome to the Sewing Report. I'm Jen. This channel is all about making sewing and crafts fun and approachable. And buckle up, guys, because we are in for a long, rambly video. So just to warn you ahead of time, and if this topic is not really your thing, I completely understand, and you may want to skip this one. But I just really wanted to delve into the world of influencer marketing and just sort of what goes on behind the scenes as a sewing and crafts YouTuber. So I'm going to be sharing a little bit of my history here on the platform, just what my experiences have been in the business ecosystem, and just like some of the frustrations I have dealt with. And I feel like I'm not alone in this, so that's why I decided to go ahead and do this. I've been just really going back and forth on whether I wanted to talk about this or not. If you're new to the channel, I have addressed some of these issues before in a video about like sponsorships and brand deals, and I'm going to be reiterating some of those points and then also sharing some just different aspects of this whole world behind the scenes. And just to let you know also, at the end of the video, I'm going to be sharing some solutions. So I'm not just going to be bitching about stuff. I do have some ideas for how to make this space better, and I've been really just thinking about things that might be able to improve the way influencers or content creators work with brands, businesses, and even other people in collaborations. So I hope you find some value in this video. And the reason I wanted to make this is one, for you, the audience. I have been very transparent in my business practices, and I thought this is something you may want to know about what content creators deal with, and just so you know more about the videos that you're seeing on YouTube or the blogs you're reading or even like the influencers on Instagram. Two, for the businesses or brands that are trying to work with influencers such as myself. And God, I do really hate the term influencer, but I guess that's like what it's called. And I guess I prefer to be referred to as a content creator, but influencer is like the general term, so I'm going to be sticking with that because I want you guys to know, if you're a business or brand and you're trying to work with folks like me, what it's like from my perspective and just how we might be able to work together better or coexist. And also, I hope this video has some value for other up-and-coming bloggers, YouTubers, Instagrammers, so that you know what to expect, especially if you're a smaller content creator and you're growing. I hope this can kind of be eye-opening and maybe save you guys some heartache from certain mistakes or things I've run into. So let's talk. And also for the businesses that reach out on Instagram direct messaging, basically from now on, when you guys send me something in the DMs, I'm just going to use this as like a learning tool, and I'm just going to send you guys a link to this video so you can review that. So I've been doing YouTube for about 5 years now on this channel. And as I shoot this, well, one, it's the holiday weekend, so there may be like some fireworks going off or some other noises from celebratory stuff. So just, just a disclaimer. And also I want to state right off the bat that this is just my experience and my opinions. You may not agree. You may have had completely different experiences. That's totally fine. I'm just sharing this from my own point of view, and that's the only person I can really speak for. So I don't speak for all influencers or all content creators. I'm also not knocking, people who do things differently than I do. If you do a lot of sponsored videos on your channel or your blog or on your Instagram account, that's totally cool. I have just found for my own platforms that type of relationship and deal just hasn't worked for me. So over the past few years, I've really gotten away from that like just traditional influencer collaboration model where they send you a free product, you do a video or a blog post about it, or like even like sponsored posts in general. I don't really do sponsored videos, and I've really decided, and I've kind of updated my Work With Me page since I last talked about this. At this point, I am not going to be doing any sponsored product reviews, sponsored videos featuring products. That just generally has not worked out well for me. I've only done maybe like one or two anyways, but I just don't really, that just hasn't worked for my content in this channel. And one of the reasons I decided to go this route and become a full-time YouTuber was because I wanted to be able to control this platform and to make the decisions. And I don't want that to be taken away from me. So yeah, I've been doing this for about 5 years. As like the subscriber count has grown, of course I am getting approached more and more by companies who want to send me products. I've gotten a few, like, since I kind of made it pretty clear that I don't really do a lot of the like products in exchange for posting, I've gotten a few of those. And I've also talked before, like the sponsorship offers I do get, they're pretty easy to say no to, and I don't really get those a lot anymore. And I'm pretty okay with that because they're not sponsorship or brand deals that I would really consider anyways. So the ones I've gotten more recently have been from the Amazon sellers. So I will get usually an email or a DM on Instagram. Good God, like, I'll say this right off the bat. I think trying to do business on Instagram direct messaging is pretty unprofessional. So if you are someone who's doing that, I would stop doing that. I would instead, if you find someone you want to work with, go to their website, do some kind of cursory research, some homework, find out how they would like to be contacted, and use that form of communication versus the Instagram DM. I do not like typing things out on my phone or my iPad. I'm much better on a computer. And I have been trying to direct people to the email address for serious business inquiries. And a lot of people apparently just don't know how to do that. So if you are going to DM me with that sort of thing, I'm literally just going to send you a link to this video. I'm not even going to send any more responses. I have tried to point a few people, even this week, who reached out. I said, hey, send me an email instead. I don't like to do business on Instagram DM. And they never emailed me. That's the funny thing. Like, when they try to DM you, I feel like they're just spamming a lot of people they find, and then they just send them the same message, copy and paste. It's not a personal thing. They don't even really know you. They're not familiar with your content. And they just blanket message a bunch of people. So the fact that they couldn't even follow basic instructions to email me says a lot about the people reaching out. So I've been getting a lot of Amazon sellers. These are not companies you've heard of. It's some like overseas person that, again, it's not like a brand and like, it's like, hey, we sell an off-brand material on Amazon. We'd like to send it to you in exchange for it. It's just super obvious. They really don't know who I am. They've never watched any of the videos. They've clearly never looked at the work with me page because I state that I don't do those types of partnerships or collaborations, but that's pretty much what I get is they're like, we sell this on Amazon. We will send it to you. You need to do a video about our product. So just right off the bat, that's a no. And in fact, I'm not really going to be I don't even think I'm going to be accepting products from those types of companies just because my dealings with them have been so ridiculously sketchy. So I did actually respond to one such email in the past couple weeks. They sold a product that I do use. So I was like, okay, I'll just say, hey, so I sent them the work with me link and I said, I don't guarantee anything. You're welcome to send it, but I can't promise you anything. I may do something with it. I may not. So it's up to you if you want to send it. And then the person I was interacting with, they were like trying to get around my policy, which really pissed me off. And I ended up like I just stopped corresponding because I was like, this is just a red flag to me that working with them is going to be a pain in the butt. They literally asked me, can you tell us whether or not you will feature our product in a video before we send it to you? Really? Like, I would know. Just no. I would need to get it and use it, and then I would decide. But they were trying to get around that, and then I said, no, I would need to try it out, and then I would make a determination. They're like, well, can you let us know? And I'm like, yeah, like no, they're gonna be just, that's the thing. Dealing with them, even going back and forth with email just wastes so much time. So I kind of updated the Work With Me page and I was like, look, if you send stuff, you're welcome to. I don't, once you send me the product, that's it. I can't give you updates, feedback on it. If I use it in a video, I use it in a video, but I'm not gonna like keep you posted. Like we don't have any sort of formal arrangement. So I cannot guarantee that or do that for you. And I also can't like return the item, like if I don't end up featuring it. So if you send it to me, that's, a risk you are taking. And quite frankly, it's a super low cost of marketing for them. They're sending you a product that costs them a couple dollars. For you to make a video on it, just for context, it's not uncommon for me to spend 20 or 30 hours producing one video. That is a lot of time invested. And if they were to hire a production company to make a video about the product, that sort of thing would probably cost them, I would say at least, depending on how they shoot it, most freelance videographers I know charge at least $1,000 as a day rate. So that you're looking at several $1,000s for an edited piece of video. And I know I'm a little bit different than other influencers because if you're not aware, I used to be a television producer, and producing videos and producing stories was something I did for a living. By trying to work with me, they're getting definitely a like more professional, experienced person doing the video, and they don't have to pay a production company, which they would certainly charge them several $1,000s to produce a video. And a lot of production companies don't really specialize in YouTube. So they might be able to make a kind of flashy looking video, but they're not familiar with the YouTube platform. And just because you produce a video doesn't mean it's going to get any views. My videos, because I've built up an audience, do get views. And I do have experience in not only the production side, but also with the YouTube backend, what types of video formats work well. And I have a lot of experience with managing a channel. So I do see why I'm appealing to businesses, brands, or people to reach out to, but they also don't really seem to understand that them sending me a product worth like retail $20, there's not a lot of upside for me to do that. So that's kind of where I'm at with those types of business opportunities. So if you are a business and you are potentially interested in trying to work with me, one, review the Work With Me page. Two, do not DM me on Instagram. Please don't do that. That really annoys me, and I've been getting more and more of those in the past couple weeks, and I know that's probably only going to continue as the channel grows. I've been trying to direct people elsewhere, but they just don't seem to get it. The other thing I would like to say about that type of business proposal is a lot of the companies or brands that will reach out to me, it's like in a very cookie cutter way. Like, well, we'd like you to try out this product. We'll send it to you. There's no like idea with it. Like if you're going to send someone a proposal for doing videos or for content, you need to give them some ideas. So not only is the onus on me to create the content, but I also have to come up with the video idea. So that's really asking a lot of a person. And one thing I have noticed is that a lot of these companies or businesses that will reach out to content creators, they don't seem to care about me. They do not seem to care about you, the audience. And really the only purpose of them trying to do this influencer marketing thing is to gain access to the audience like the one I've built and use it to sell products or sell services or whatever. So that type of thing, that's what I find frustrating, is just the lack. There's kind of a tone deafness of it, and I just find that that's pretty disingenuous. If you're going to reach out to someone, one, that person, like I have no obligation to grant someone access to the Sewing Report platform. This is something I have built. They didn't help me build a channel of 75,000 subscribers or an Instagram following. I'm going to be pretty selective over the types of things that I feature. You guys know, and I've made this clear that I want this to be a place where you can trust the reviews I put out. You can trust the products I talk about because I genuinely actually think they're good products or good services, or if I feature people, I've featured interviews and conversations that this is someone that I find to have value to you, the audience. But from what I'm getting when folks reach out to me is that they just don't put any thought into what is the value for the audience. They don't seem to care. And while I have no issues with companies and people, businesses needing to make money, you're asking someone else to give you access to their platform that they built for you to make money, and you're offering them zero to no real benefit. In my opinion, offering them like some fairly inexpensive free products or like a shout out on your Instagram account is not a real benefit. So if you're going to be working with content creators, and this has been kind of prevalent in the sewing and quilting realm in particular, is that a lot of companies will try to, I feel, almost take advantage of, especially these smaller creators, like kind of thinking, oh, they're going to jump at the chance to work with XYZ brand and offer them no compensation or like very little compensation. I have personally been approached by very large companies that I know have a marketing budget, and they will have offered me $100 to do a video and some free product. That's not a hard thing for me to say no to. And I think it's pretty crappy of, especially these bigger companies, to not compensate content creators fairly for what they're doing. As I mentioned, some of these videos take me weeks to make, sometimes longer than that. In fact, I'm working on a couple of videos right now that are like more long-term projects. So I have one that I'm working on that it's going to take me like a few months to do because it's sort of a it's definitely more of like a, here's what happens over a longer period of time kind of thing. I just think a lot of the people that are approaching me with these opportunities, like they really just do not think about that at all. So I think there is a real issue of content creators just not getting compensated for what they're doing at all. I think that's not right. I can understand if it's like a very small business or an individual reaching out that they may not have that budget. But if you're a large corporation that's in retail stores across the country, or if you are a corporation owned by a much larger conglomerate, then that's just not cool. And I have no interest in trying to help you make money when you clearly don't care about offering me anything of benefit. So I'm not going to be considering any offers like that. In fact, I did update the Work With Me page. Also, I've been kind of batting this around a lot, and I think the only sponsorships I'm willing to entertain, which even that's a pretty far stretch, would be like the podcast model, where you have a sponsor at the beginning, you do a quick ad read, but it's completely separate from the rest of the content. I think that is the only type of sponsorship I am willing to consider at this point. And that information is on my website. So if you'd like to read more about it, I'm going to link it below in the description box. But as a viewer, that doesn't really bother me when I see that on other channels. So that's why I'm okay with that type of arrangement. But I would still actually want to vet out the company. I would definitely not do any sponsorships like that for like the Amazon sellers I've never heard of. Only companies that have been around for a long time I've heard of, and that have like, real people I can talk to. So if you are a brand and you're interested in that type of sponsorship, I am potentially open to those types of arrangements. Reach out to me. The thing I'm not willing to do though is I have had collaborations before where the company in the contract required me to do brand exclusivity. If they sent me a pair of scissors, I can't use any other brand of scissors on my channel for 4 months, stuff like that. So I will not do brand exclusivity. You would also not be able to like dictate what I could and couldn't do in videos. And there would likely be like competing products or competing companies in the videos. So I'm open to those types of things, but I also would still need to maintain a complete freedom in order to consider those types of sponsorships. But that is a type of sponsorship I am willing to entertain. So if you're interested in that, feel free to reach out. The other thing I wanted to touch on is people who reach out to me for, some of them will reach out under the guise of like, they will try to offer to you under the guise that of possible paid work, but reading between the lines, they are looking for free marketing or social media consulting from me. And that's something that I've dealt with several times over the years. There was a company that reached out to me, this was a few years ago, and I get this all the time, not even just within the Sewing Report stuff, but just from other industries, or just people who've heard of me and they know I do YouTube. They will reach out and they will say they want to like get together for lunch or talk on the phone with me to do the pick your brain thing. Earlier on in my YouTube journey, I spent a lot of time trying to help people. Like I would, spend hours on the phone or talking with someone online about them trying to grow their social media platforms. And in hindsight, that was a huge mistake on my part. I ended up just really sacrificing so much of my time to try to help somebody else. And a lot of the people I was talking to, there's someone that, like, this was a business. This wasn't like just a random person. Like, this wasn't a 20-year-old kid trying to grow a YouTube channel. This was someone who worked for XX Corporation, and they should have paid me. I did this for free. I should not have done that for free. By me doing it for free, that really cuts down the work of other people who do this. So that is something I absolutely do not do, and I've learned from those were tough lessons to learn. Just to be frank, I am not in a well-off enough financial position to be donating my time, especially not to businesses or companies that should be paying someone for consulting. If you are a business or a brand, and the person that reached out from the big company, they kind of tried to tempt me in by saying they might be able to hire me for some marketing work. Of course, that never materialized, and I spent a few hours of my time giving them ideas on what they could do with social media. They never actually did anything. So and that's the thing I found is when I tried to help people with those types of things, they would monopolize hours of my time and usually do nothing with the information. So if you're in this situation and you are an influencer or a content creator, when people come to ask you for help with that sort of thing, I would be very selective in who I choose to help. And also think to yourself, you need to make sure that, are you in a position to be donating your time? Because that's what you're doing. You are donating your time and expertise to someone who plans to use your information to make money. And in those situations, I do feel like the only fair thing to do is to offer to compensate that person. And if you're not, you shouldn't be asking them, because I think it's really rude to expect someone to donate their time to you so that you're going to use it to make money for yourself. That's happened to me a lot, and I really hate feeling used by people. That's something that really really pushes my buttons, and that's happened to me certainly since I've started doing this. But as I've gotten older and just more experienced in these circles, over time, you kind of learn to stand up for yourself, and it's okay to say no to people who approach you about this and just say, hey, I'm not able to do one-on-one stuff. Good luck with that. But if they're not willing to hire someone for that type of consulting, then they really shouldn't be expecting to get it for free. And in fact, I was talking to someone else in the sewing and quilting industry, and they said that happened to them. They were a business owner. They said that happened to them all the time, where other businesses felt entitled to their time for free. And guys, that's not cool. And it does not matter if you are a big business, a tiny business, if it's just you. If you are asking someone else to give their time to you and their expertise, you need to offer to pay them. And if you can't pay them, I completely understand. In that situation, though, you need to be then figuring out how to do it yourself, the DIY thing. I don't reach out to big YouTubers and expect them to be my mentor. When I am trying to learn how to make a better channel or help grow the channel, I have paid for one training. Again, I paid for the training. I did not approach the person and expect them to help me for free. And when I wasn't able, because I'm pretty cheap, when I wasn't able to do that, I will find people who have expertise. Usually they have content that's free, and I will consume the free content. And that way I can learn from them, also support them through watching their videos. And I'm not asking them for like one-on-one help. So that's, I think, the thing that I want to get across is that you cannot go to another professional and demand their one-on-one time unless you're willing to compensate them or offer something of value that they actually want. And the people that are approaching me for help, and I get this all the time, they have kind of an entitled attitude. They're like they'll reach out and they'll say, I need you to do this, and this for me. Nowhere in their correspondence are they pointing out any sort of benefit for me. They'll sometimes try to like make me like maybe hit the sympathy card by like saying, we're really struggling and we have no marketing budget. Like, look, I understand if you have no marketing budget. I don't have a marketing budget either, but I don't ask other professionals to donate their time to me. If I am going to get professional help, I'm willing to pay for it. Now, earlier on in my YouTube journey, I may have been able to take some one-on-one consulting freelance work. At this point, I'm really not even able to. I have had a few people reach out kind of recently, and they're like, hey, could I hire you to do this for me? And I had to turn down the work because time-wise, I just can't do it anymore. And I also know that the prices I would need to charge to make it worthwhile for me would certainly be out of the person's budget. So I tried to point them to some free resources. I told them a book to buy, but at this point, I can't even do that sort of thing anymore. So if you are trying to reach out to me for the purposes of getting marketing or social media help, please don't. I cannot help you with one-on-one stuff. I just can't. I don't have the time. I don't outsource any work here on the channel. I do everything myself. I read all the comments. I check all the emails. I don't hire anyone. I have nobody helping me. So I have to really manage my time very carefully. And unfortunately, I'm just not able to respond to those types of requests. So that's something I just kind of want to talk about, because if you are also like a fellow influencer, you're probably going to get people, especially if you reach like a milestone, like if you get to like 100,000 followers or something, you're gonna start to get people coming out of the woodwork and being like, oh, that's so cool. Can you show me how to grow my own Instagram account or my own YouTube channel? And I would tell you, if you are looking for help in those areas, there are so many free resources. Look to those before you try to reach out to people. There are so many YouTube channels about growing a YouTube channel. And the best way for you to get better at it and to grow your own platforms is for you to really understand it. And I would also say this, if you are hiring someone and you're outsourcing it, you still really need to be able to understand how all of those platforms work, because you're not going to be able to know whether the person you hire is actually competent. And because it's really important for you to know how like all of their algorithms work and just like what kind of content to produce, because it's really important and you really cannot outsource having that type of knowledge. You really need to understand it. I specifically want to speak to these small businesses, like the ones that have reached out to me, like local quilt shops or like small sewing studios. I've had several over the years reach out to me and ask for help, and I've had to either not respond or turn them down and say I wasn't able to help them, because again, I'm just not able. You have to understand, I'm not able to, at this point in my life, donate my time to help you grow your business. I have to focus on growing my own business. Guys, I drive a $1,000 car. I work at least 60 to 70 hours a week. I have not been on a vacation since 2012. And even that was not like a fancy vacation by any means. It was like driving to the Keys. I'm able to do this because I have a very frugal lifestyle. I really do need to be prioritizing on my own financial picture before I try to help anybody else. So I hope this does not come off as being mean, but the correspondence I've gotten from some of these small businesses has been a little bit eye-opening, and I kind of want to get into that a little bit. So I had a quilt shop reach out. This was a few years ago, and they said, hey, I run a quilt shop in, this town, and I'd really like to talk to you about some marketing ideas for our shop. And I wrote back and I said, hey, I'm not really able to do that. When I said reach out to me, it's not for that type of thing. You are looking to, they should be paying a marketing person. And if they can't pay a marketing person, they need to be doing the marketing themselves. And I said, I'm not able to do that. You would have to pay me. I can't do this for free. And they actually wrote back and said, we were really hoping you would. I'm like, look, I do feel empathy for these small businesses, especially with the pandemic that happened last year. A lot of brick and mortar shops and businesses have really struggled. And I empathize and I really understand where you're coming from. But I would also push it back on you and say that you need to try to do everything within your power to adapt to the situation. Now, you could have spent a lot of time even before the pandemic trying to grow your own social media accounts and online presence. That should have been a priority for all businesses even 5 or 10 years ago. The internet has now been around for at least 20, 30 years. It is not my responsibility to save your struggling business. I'm very sorry, and I know that's going to come across a bit harsh, but your emergency now is not also my emergency. And the fact that this business was saying, we want you to help us for free, and that's the thing, they didn't even attempt to say, here's what we could do for you. It was just all about what I had to do for them. And it was just a very strange interaction. And that's not the only one I've had. Last year, I got a fairly desperate email from a local business that's sort of in my area. It was one, and this happens a lot too, is they're not actual Sewing Report fans or supporters. They have not been subscribers to the channel for a long time. It's they kind of found one of my videos or saw me online, saw I had a fairly sizable audience, and then they just clicked in their mind, oh, hey, maybe she can do something for me. So I got an email. It was a very desperate sounding email because this business relies on a lot of in-person traffic, and clearly that was not happening. It was all over the place. And I did feel very bad for them because this is a hard place to be in. Your first reaction might be oh, I really need to help this person. But here's the thing, by helping that business, I am sacrificing my own business. So I had to think about that. 2, there was nothing in that whole, they sent me a very long email. There was nothing in it where there was a value for me or the viewers here. They didn't even have any idea. So it's not like they sent a specific, hey, I'd love to help make a video on your channel about this, or something. There were no ideas. It was almost I don't even know how to describe this, but it was just, I've had this business, this is what's been happening. You need to help me. I have no marketing budget. So basically it means I can't pay you anything. And I want access to your audience. That's reading between the lines what I got. What did I do with this email? I didn't respond. This is going to sound awful, but I didn't respond. I just have found that when I've responded to those types of messages, you just end up getting back and forth in a loop with this person. It doesn't end up going anywhere, and then I end up wishing I had never responded. So I didn't get back to this person. They did not take any effort to try to make it a two-way street. It was all a one-way street. And that really bothers me about some of these messages is that when I get them, it's just very, they're very selfish. They go right in for the ask. It would have been a totally different story if they had emailed and said, hi, I'm so-and-so. I run this business. We're in the same area. I love your videos. Thank you for what you're doing. If there's anything, we could ever do for you, let us know. I'm just noticing a real trend of not building real relationships in this space, but everything's very transactional. And when someone reaches out to you, it's with a request. It's not with a, hey, they're never offering you anything. It's all about taking. And that's something that I think could really change in the space of sewing, quilting, and crafting is more of a giving attitude instead of a taking attitude. So no, I did not write back to this person. Don't know whatever happened. I would tell them, you need to work. If you're a small business and you are worried about surviving and you're worried about your sales, you need to be growing your own social media presence. You don't want to have to rely on going to influencers who have big platforms. Imagine how much of a different scenario it would have been if this business had grown their own platforms. Now that the lockdowns have been lifted, I would tell you, if you're a small business, don't just sit on it. take this time, make the time, and start having a presence on YouTube, on Instagram, on TikTok, everywhere you can, and start creating your own content. And do not give me the excuse that you do not have time. Because I would also ask you, how much time do you spend watching TV or hanging out with your friends or going out to dinner? Because I can tell you, I do none of those things. If you really want this to work, you need to make it a priority to focus on social media and growing online. And if you can pay someone to help you with that, hire them. Pay them fairly, in line with their expertise. There are also low-cost ways of doing it. I mean, running a YouTube channel or starting an Instagram page is free. So this is free or very low-cost marketing for your business. You just have to figure out how to make these videos. And if you cannot afford to hire a production company to help you, you need to be looking up videos on how to make a YouTube video. So that's what I would tell you. For the companies that reach out to me, I'm really sorry. I cannot respond to most of these. And if you are reaching out to me for help, you need to have you need to make sure in the correspondence that you point out what the benefit is for the viewers. What is the benefit for me, the creator? And put yourself last. So if the ask is very selfish, I'm definitely not going to be responding. And at the end of this video, I'm going to be sharing some ideas I have, but that's just something I've noticed within this space, is that a lot of these other small businesses or entrepreneur types, I feel like they have this like entitled attitude towards my help. And look, we're all in the same boat. I get it, but I am not responsible for what happens within your business. Okay, so let's talk about collaborations between content creators. This is something that's very popular, especially on YouTube. And I want to touch on this a little bit with the whole collaboration thing. I've gotten emails, DMs for people who are like trying to start a YouTube channel or, have like a smaller channel. And I think in their mind, they think if they're featured on like a bigger channel, that will help them grow their follower base. From my experience doing this, that sort of thing hasn't really helped my own channel grow. I would focus less on collaborations and more on making your own videos better or your own posts on Instagram better, because I've just noticed that like if I was on a channel with 600,000 subscribers and the amount of like conversion I got from that appearance was super, super insignificant, like maybe like 5 subscribers or something. It was nothing even like remotely worth writing home about. I know in your mind you might be like, hey, I need to reach out to these people with 500,000 subscribers, but I've just not found that that's a successful strategy. In fact, I had someone reach out last year, like towards the beginning of quarantine. At that point, they had a much smaller subscriber number than I did. They kind of were like asking me about something, something I talked about. They didn't have any ideas for collaborating. And again, I didn't really know this person. So I didn't have, like there was really no reason for us to collaborate. I think she thought it was going to lead to something, but I like, there was just no purpose in it. And I'm not just going to do a collaboration to do a collaboration. She ended up doing a few videos that really gained a lot of traction. And this person now has more subscribers than me. Getting on my channel, like really wouldn't have done anything for her, but doing her own thing and finding her own type of video that works for her, that was a successful strategy. And I was really happy to see that this person had grown to in such a small amount of time, but it was because they were doing their own thing. So if you're a creator, I would not really focus or put a lot of eggs in the basket of trying to get featured on like brands' accounts or other YouTube channels. The videos that really helped me grow the most were just videos I made. Like it wasn't like I was on such and such channel and blew up. The likelihood of that happening is pretty small. And as far as like how I come up with collaborations here, I have done a few conversations with people. I really have tried to, and again, their follower count does not matter to me. When I am doing collaborations, the things I'm looking for are, does this person have a really interesting story? Or do they have a lot of value that they could share with the audience? And that's really what I look for. The folks I have collaborated with, they just happen to have like a smaller YouTube subscriber base or even no YouTube. And I have reached out to them. If you're going to reach out to somebody with a collaboration request, it really needs to be very specific. You can't just DM them or email them and just say, you know, hey, would you like to do a video together or something? Because the person's going to be like, well, you know, what are we going to do together? And if you're reaching out to someone and you're approaching them, then the onus really needs to be on you to have the idea already. It should be a concrete and very executable idea, and that benefits both parties. So that's my advice if you're trying to like work on that front and do collaborations. But most of the requests I get, there's just no thought put into it. So I just, you know, there's really nothing to do there. If they had an awesome idea that I wanted to get involved in, that is another thing. That's just my thoughts on collaborations. Okay, so what can be improved in the space of influencer marketing, and how can we make this better? And I've come up with some ideas that I wanted to just throw out there. The first idea is that I think that companies, especially companies that put out a lot of new products or like fabric manufacturers, I think that they could have some success with doing the model that the beauty space does, where they have kind of a PR list where they have some influencers or YouTubers that they have worked with before or, you know, have on the list. Whenever you have something new or exciting coming out, just mail it to them. Just say, hey, you know, what's your most recent mailing address or PO box? If we have anything new or cool to tell you about, we'd love to send you packages. I've seen some really amazing PR packages, really cute stuff in the beauty space with makeup, and I would love to see more of that happening within the sewing and crafts realm. But like the companies I've seen in the crafts and sewing realm, I like, again, it's like they're so cheap, they don't even want to do that. But even doing that would be a very low cost way of getting the word out about new products or about things that you really want to try to promote. For you to just send out some products, even without the guarantee of there being content about it, a fairly good amount of people probably will at least post about it. And I think that's a pretty low pressure way of dealing with the influencers. Like if you just send them stuff and are like, you know, hey, here's some stuff we just want you to have, the likelihood of them talking about it, especially without that pressure, is probably pretty high. And then you also get the benefit that they don't have to say this is a sponsored video or this is a sponsored post. So that's something that I really would love to see more of in this area. Another thing is more charitable and philanthropic efforts on the parts of companies, brands, and businesses and influencers. If a company reached out and said, hey, we would like to donate sewing machines to low-income communities, that is absolutely something that I would like to help promote or do what I can to try to get the word out. But the thing I've just run into is that it's all like, we have this product that we just want people to make videos on. To me, that's kind of boring and blah. But the idea of having more companies get involved with community efforts or trying to help people, I think that's such a worthy and admirable goal. And I think you're going to get more content creators willing to spend their time to make a video if they know it's going to help people. And like the goal of this channel is to help you make sewing and crafts fun and to help educate people and you know, make this a fun space. The goal of the Sewing Report is not to help companies sell products. This is not HSN or the QVC network. And I used to work at HSN and I know how it is there. I think like the influencer marketing has just really kind of destroyed a lot of what like the earlier days of YouTube were. And I want to see us go back to a more organic place where things were just more natural and everything you watched didn't feel like it was an infomercial. So I would love to see more companies or, you know, more businesses or more like collaborations involving trying to help people or trying to promote education and that type of thing. Another idea I had is that the emails I tend to get are like, here's our product again, we want to sell this. Instead of offering just products, offer ideas, techniques, resources, education, and that's something that I would be much more willing to share with the audience here at the Sewing Report. If you said, hey, you know what, we know this thread is very popular. Here are some really great tips for making your sewing easier, faster, more efficient, making your projects look better. I am very open to people who reach out and offer help or value to the audience. Like maybe you offer your expert seamstress up and say, hey, would you like to interview this person? You can ask them sewing questions or for sewing tips, but I'm not really getting a lot of that. And I think that could go a long way in helping us all to make better content online. And that's really the goal. And that should be the goal. The goal should not be just to sell people stuff. And that's not why I'm here. I am sure I could probably make a lot more money if every video was a sponsored video, but that's not what I've chosen to do. And that's not really like something that I feel passionate about. And another thing, I would love to see people just developing relationships without like having an ulterior motive. If you like what someone's doing, reach out to them and just say, hey, you know what? I loved your last couple videos, really got a lot out of it. Just wanted to say hi. If I can ever do anything for you, let me know because I'm here for you. In fact, I sent an email like that to a YouTuber, not in this space, but a YouTuber I've been watching in another area. And I just said, hey, I really appreciate you putting out these videos. I've learned a lot and I just wanted to send you a friendly note. And again, that's helping to build a real relationship and not one that's based on the foundation of transactions. So if I'm reaching out to someone for the first time, I rarely ask someone for something. And if I do, I really try to make sure that there is at least an equal or greater benefit for the person I'm reaching out to than for myself. Because I don't want to come across as selfish and I don't want to come across like I'm trying to use the person because I hate feeling that way myself. So another example, there was a YouTuber I kind of saw at an event. I didn't really talk to them, but I thought what they were doing was really cool. And I wanted to just, make some sort of connection. And I happened to have something that I thought that they would want. So I reached out and I just said, hey, just to let you know, I've got this thing that, you may find beneficial. And it was something that was definitely custom to them. And I said, if you like, I can do this for you. And they said, yeah, sure, that would be great. So I ended up helping them out in this small way. And we still to this day have a really like good friendly acquaintance relationship. And we have actually collaborated on a couple different things. In fact, this person was on the channel a while back. I'm not going to say who it is, but when I reached out initially, it was to give them something. It was not to take from them. So I feel like more people need to have the mindset of giving and not taking. Oh, this is a good example. I had somebody from Mettler Thread reach out to me and they said, hey, would you like to try these out? And I sent them my policy. I said, hey, if you're cool with these terms, feel free to, I'd love to check it out. So they were fine with it. They were very low pressure, non-aggressive, which I appreciated. They ended up sending me a couple samples of their Ceraflex thread. And, and they did not hound me. They weren't like, are you going to make a video about this? They weren't like, blah, blah, blah. They sent it and then they just like stepped back and they gave me some breathing room. I liked the product so much. I have featured it in a few videos and I started selling the product myself in the Etsy shop. So sometimes these interactions can lead to a fruitful and mutually beneficial relationship. But the thing I want to point out is that the relationship needs to be mutually beneficial. It cannot be a parasitic relationship. This needs to be a two-way street. You cannot be the one solely benefiting from it because people really see through that type of facade. And I don't like being approached with stuff like that. So I just wanted to get this off. This video is seriously going to be like an hour long. But let me know below in the comments, what do you think of the current state of the whole influencer marketing ecosystem? Do you have any ideas for how you would like to see content created moving forward? Have you seen any really cool partnerships going on? And if you are a content creator, if you have similar frustrations, let me know. And again, I want to stress different creators do things differently. Not everyone is going to feel the same way I do. That's totally okay. I just wanted to kind of air out my own feelings. This has been bottling up for such a long time. I have been wanting to talk about this forever, but I was like really not sure if I was like afraid of this coming off like kind of whiny or complaining. And I'm not complaining. I just wanted to explain where I'm coming from and also share some ideas I had for really making this space better. If you're stuck around to the end of this video, oh my gosh, thank you. And I really appreciate all of you who watch and continue to support the Sewing Report. I'm Jen, and whatever you're doing, remember, make it fun, and I'll see you again in the next video.